Studio 8 FM Acoustics Room. Okay, let's go in. I want everyone to meet the man behind FM Acoustics. My name is Peter Breuninger, and your name is?
Manuel Huber.
Manuel,
Peter.
We're meeting, and you have some of the most exquisitely desirable audio products in the world.
You're very kind for that. It's been a long walk and a long road to achieve this. But it's kind of nice because we have a professional side. Many recording studios, recording artists use our stuff in the studios, but also at home. And then we kind of gradually stepped into hi-fi, not really planned by accident. And now we seem to get the recognition that should be deserved.
Well, you've been in hi-fi for how many years now?
40 years. This is
I was going to say it's a long time.
Exactly, it's a long time. You can see it too.
Yes. I share some of that. Can you just tell us what amplifiers you have here in the big system?
Okay, on the big system we're using, well, I should actually start at the beginning.
Okay.
Two turntables. One is the what do you call it? Tourbillon from Transrotor with two different arms and cartridges. We go into the FM223 phono linearizer. It's not just a phono stage, it's a rather complex unit, which I could explain in more detail later. We have a mono player, which is an old Garage, just rebuilt to the original standard, with a SME 12 and a no-name cartridge. We then move the whole things into the preamplifier linearizer, and I don't know if anyone has been informed about the linearizer, but I think personally, if people ask me what shall I buy from FM Acoustics, what is the best value for money, and I'm not talking about FM Acoustics systems, just what one piece which brings you the most music. I think it's the linearizer, because you can linearize source errors and source selection, things like that.
Oh, I see.
It's a complex thing. It's probably too long to explain. I don't know how much time.
Oh, I think the viewers are definitely going to understand the camera, because the camera is right on the adjustments here. So these are the center frequencies that these adjust, and how wide do they go?
Well, it's not an equalizer. It works totally different. I would have to show you a little bit of. We do something much simpler, or in some ways simpler. We let the signal pass through from input to output 100%. And then we have an additive subtractive constant phase linearizer bank. What this means, we subtract or add to the straight through signal only those critical points, areas of the frequency spectrum we need. The center frequency is set at what you can read here, 50, 200, it's just two octaves apart. But the unit is much more versatile than this. I'll give you an example here. Sorry. This is an explanation. This is a simple 6 dB filter, which other equalizer would do as well, but it's a very mild correction, you know. This would be the additive. We have a little switch here that says non-symmetrical, symmetrical. Why do we have that? It has nothing to do with the balancing or unbalancing of the cabling, but you have to imagine a resonance is the most objective objective signal that you want. You want to dampen resonances, and resonances are normally sharp. So you have to have more attenuation, then no more subtraction.
And center it up.
And center it up, exactly. That's the idea. Now here, we only use one control, as you can see, it's always centered at 800 hertz. But we're not limited to this. If we want to, say, go to 1200 hertz, what we do, we use the second control. As you can see here, we use two controls, and then we can not only attenuate, but we slide the center frequency up. And this is exactly how the brain-ear interaction works. So it's a very simple. Now this gives you the response of a typical equalizer. I'm not mentioning any names, you know. But what you have here is the typical attenuation. Too early, as you can see, we're attenuating frequency which we shouldn't attenuate. And at the frequency we should be attenuating, there's a bump. You know, this is a typical feedback equalizer. And this is what we can do now. As you see, here I slide it down a little bit to 1 kilohertz. This was 1.2 kilohertz. Okay. Here's like, all you do is just attenuate. You go with a subtraction a little bit higher, and with this slightly up. So this way you can not only attenuate it, but you can also slide it each control over the frequency, you know. And the beauty is, it's only 5 controls. May I present you another thing?
Yes, go ahead.
Something rather special. We are introducing the FM223. The FM223 is a phono linearizer. It's not just a phono stage. Very briefly said, what we have here is, we have 2 balanced inputs, true balanced, and you can select them here in the front panel. Then we have a switch here, vertical, horizontal. Why? Well, old mono records were cut vertically. They were not cut horizontally. So if you use today's technology, you will only hear noise, because the cartridge is not able to do. With this, we can restitute.
So you can do that you can have a stereo cartridge and use that?
No,
you still
use
need a mono.
Use a mono. It's better. Use
Okay,
mono.
okay,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
okay.
And then here, plus 10 dB, this is when you have a low output moving coil. You can add 10 dB of gain. Behind the front panel, you have the loading resistances.
Okay.
FM
On this
Acoustics
switch.
pioneered this.
Okay.
And also loading capacitance. Why? Some of the manufacturers of cartridges, I'm sorry to say, they do a bit of the tricks. They lift the high frequencies. Why do they do that? When you come into a hi-fi showroom and you're listening there, you hear various cartridges, then you hear this one that goes, wow, what definition, oh, this is that. And people buy this. But at home, after a couple of hours, it's so tiring, because they produce peaks. And I've measured peaks up to 12 dB, and 12 dB is a lot. So what we can do here, we can insert some capacitance to compensate those peaks. So to linearize those cartridges. So people who spend $3, $4, $5, $10, $15,000 for a cartridge can still use it by adding capacitance. Okay.
Okay, great. Well, why don't we just do a quick little walk through the rest of the system, and we'll spin that vinyl up, and we'll let everyone here get into what we're here for.
From the preamplifier, we're going into this little box here. Inside the box is a crossover, electronic crossover. So we're separating the bass frequencies, low bass frequencies, from the mid and up frequencies. Low bass goes into channel 1 of the stereo amplifier. This is FM 1811,
Okay.
the most powerful unit we make. And then it goes direct to the driver.
Okay.
No coil, no capacitor, no resistance. We have a 1 milliohm resistance, so we have a very good control of the bass driver.
Now, whose speaker is that?
We make that, but only to order. This is not a commercial product, I have to say that.
Okay.
The smaller ones, we have 3 in the inspiration system, it's called. We have 3. The smaller system over there, we're going to present that later on. It's in principle the same thing, but this is a 7-driver, 5-way system, rather complex.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it.
Very, very complex. Very difficult, The other one is still difficult, it's a 4-way, also bi-amplified. So the other side of the higher frequency range, goes into the other side of the power amplifier and is then separated outside in the box as well into the other frequency ranges. And on the box, first of all, you have the level controls of the amplifier to set the level between the bass and mid-high frequency level, the balance, and then you have separate for drivers the controls here. So if you have an irregularly shaped room, or you have one side glass windows, the other side wood, you will never get a perfect center image. It's physically not possible acoustically. With this, you can fine-tune the system. So you get, with mono, of course we do that with mono, so you get a perfect center image. And this is the most important thing, to have in mono a perfect center image without any splashes or things, and then you can work out your way. And this is the advantage of the inspiration system. It's tunable to any room. L-shaped rooms, rooms with alcoves, things like that. We can do a lot.
Well, it's the first I've seen the inspiration. Let's listen to it next.
Okay, fine.
Manuel, thank you very much. Great presentation from Manuel at FM Acoustics.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Outstanding, Manuel, outstanding. Thank you so much, thank you.
Thank you very much. I love the colors of the instruments.
Thanks to your equipment. So, thank you very much, Manuel. Thank you.
Glad to be here. Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you.